CFM. We are live. CFM Radio.
It is Wednesday, my dudes, and Clusterfucked Media is happy to present CFM Radio, video game music and news. What is up, Vector?
Video game music and news live every Wednesday, brought to you and Drix. You know, man, a lot has been up, especially this week, dude. You know, we started off with a crazy Mother Monday. You are trailblazing through that game. You're getting new party members, fighting wild bosses. Drix, Mother Monday was not one you wanted to miss this week.
Yeah, I was kind of tricked again. There's a couple instances in Earthbound where the objective is to sit and wait and not react to things that are going on, like in the story and around you and stuff. Or like, you know, the password is to wait for 3 minutes. I'm like, what? I had to confirm via the internet, like, this is what I'm supposed to do, right?
Wait for 3 minutes.
But yeah, our buddy Pooh has joined the party and completed his Moo training. So he's got some new psychic abilities that he gets to add to the party, and yeah, having a good time getting him caught up in the grind to the rest of the team. And yeah, we're gonna get to like some Jurassic Park type stuff going on here too. Like I got beaten up by a kraken on the ocean, you know, after taking to the seas on the beach, and just wow, I don't know what's gonna happen next. So it's all very exciting still.
Oh, man.
Hope you guys are along for the ride over there on CFM on Twitch.
You know, I'm always there for the ride over on CFM on Twitch because, you know, I love Earthbound, and it's always fun for me to watch people play Earthbound start to finish fresh. It's always cool. I think it's a unique game that has a lot of broad interpretation, and there's a lot of truly like emotional moments in the game as well. So man, like
the Stoic Club, like these are people in like a bar or social club scenario that are just contemplating a rock and just having the most profound thoughts and thinking they're cooler than everybody.
But Drix,
that's definitely new to me.
Those games, they don't have politics in them. My old games did not have politics.
There's no such thing as woke in the 90s, right?
Not at all. You know, you only go into the Stoic Club and hear one of the patrons wax philosophy about the folly of capitalism in a 90s game.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
I had to screenshot that one for my personal use.
That was a good moment. Fantastic moment.
Yep.
Speaking of screenshot worthy moments, you know, if you haven't been watching the backlog beatdown, I love Sonic Frontiers for a lot of reasons, and you're gonna hear them in the backlog in the YouTube video that I'm cutting up. But one of the things that I wanted to say is that, you know, Sonic Frontiers, I remember in the lead up to that game, it got a lot of flack for looking like an Unreal Engine asset flip. But I gotta tell you, Drix, Sonic Frontiers, while it might have that overall vibe, it has some amazing atmosphere that gives you moments that are really worthy of a screenshot. Like, you know, just to sit back and like see the characters running through the landscape with a backdrop of either the rest of the island or the vast oceanscape, that like the waterscape that's out in the distance. And again, speaking of screenshot worthy moments, you know, at the very end of my stream of Sonic Frontiers on the backlog beatdown, you know, it was funny because you in the chat, Drix, said you're like, damn, this still image right here of Sonic standing in front of all the Cocos. That's like a screenshot or a screensaver shot. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. And I thought about that for a moment, and I was like, man, there are a lot of screensaver, wallpaper worthy moments.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta, pause the game or bust out photo mode and really take in the majesty.
It's true. And games like Sonic Frontiers, you don't really notice it until at least I didn't, until it was pointed out to me. But you go so fast.
It's easy to miss.
It's easy to miss.
Speeds.
Yeah, it's easy to miss when you're playing as a character like Knuckles or Tails or Amy. You're just running so fast, and there's a lot of details that are really easy to miss, which is it's kind of funny, but at the same time, it makes the game really worth checking out if you haven't already, especially if you're a Sonic fan. I'm really liking Sonic Frontiers. It's very fun. But
I think I saw it on the PlayStation Summer Sale.
Yeah. Oh, Sonic Frontiers. I bought mine at a GameStop, I think like the year after it came out, for like $20.
Yep. It's out there making its rounds.
Yeah.
Get all the DLC, the full package.
Yeah, you get everything. It's all free too. So, and then we explored a couple of modes of that. Not this last one, but the one before that. So that was pretty fun. Sonic Frontiers, pretty cool game. If you've been missing it, that's over on been missing that, or the RPG Theater of Earthbound, I should say. Those are all over on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/CFM on Twitch. Very, very, we're always gaming over there. You know what I mean? Monday gaming, Tuesday gaming. Speaking of gaming, there was, if you missed it on the backlog beatdown, we ended on a bit of a sour note because, for whatever reason, this PC that I'm using, it can stream pretty okay, but whenever it tries to play games, it just craps out. I get application hangs. So, unfortunately, we will not be continuing the grind live with Magic the Gathering Arena. I know we had a couple of people who came out for Magic, and that was, it's really sad that we're going to be discontinuing that. But Magic might come back in another incarnation rather soon. We might be playing some Magic Online. Who knows? So, my computer can handle that because it's pretty much a browser game. So,
yeah. So,
I wanted to reiterate that here. Until further notice, Magic the Gathering Arena, the grind live, we are suspended. We'll see how long that can last. We'll see if I can get a fix or something. But until I can, we're not going to be doing that over on the Twitch anymore. Sorry about that, guys. It was fun while it lasted. I had fun.
Yeah. Can always make a deck of your real life Magic cards.
Exactly.
If you got any lying around.
Exactly. But I've got to say, we gotta move on from the games that we're playing because Drix, it is Gamescom this week. It just started yesterday. It rolled on through into today. We're gonna throw some of those trailers right up on the B-roll right now while you and I talk Gamescom, because there was a lot that has been going on these last few days. Lots of new games and news from our old buddy Phil Spencer over at Xbox.
Yep, he loves to get with the press, and
yes,
Gamescom has been no exception. Talking about the ins and outs of Microsoft and the Xbox gaming arm and their plans and activities as of late.
But you know what, Drix? We'll save Phil Spencer's news for after we talk about what's really going on with Gamescom and why why everyone really checks out Gamescom, the games. And right now, you're seeing the Borderlands 4 teaser trailer, and it's just a teaser. There's no gameplay. But Borderlands 4, it's coming for you, Drix. It's coming for you and me. And it doesn't matter how bad that movie was.
Yeah, no, they were probably hoping to have some sort of momentum coming out of that movie, but maybe just a fresh start entirely. And the trailer didn't really reveal a whole lot, just a lot of cool interstellar planets colliding and stuff. Not a lot of story elements revealed yet, but I mean, based on previous incarnations of Borderlands, you can probably expect a lot of shooting and looting, as they say.
Absolutely. And Drix, I don't know about you, but I thought that they made a really big deal out of what you're seeing on the B-roll right now, and that is Sid Meier's Civilization 7. Drix, I don't know, man. Everywhere I watched, I'm pretty sure all of the Gamescom presentations up until now, and even the Xbox had to take a step back for a minute and say, hey, Civilization 7, it's coming.
Yeah, this is something that, game fans have more than likely been familiar with for a very long time. The grandest of strategy games.
Oh yeah.
So it's been a while, now that I'm thinking about it, since we've gotten Civilization 6. So time to put your big thinking caps on and get ready for Civilization 7.
It looks pretty cool, Drix. I gotta say, the visuals always end up looking better than they did in the years prior, for the most part at least. But I gotta ask you, Drix, how much further can we go conceptually with Civilization, right?
Yeah, I mean, I did read a disclaimer somewhere that says, look out, it looks like Civilization.
Yeah, fellas, I don't know if you know, but Civilization is pretty homogenous. Like,
yeah, top down, maybe some hexagonal tiles, but yeah, we've already got leaders, some strong leaders of each of the different civilizations, their different abilities and strengths and weaknesses and stuff that kind of play into. So yeah, it will be interesting to see like what more can they add to the game that has already thought of everything.
Indeed. I can't wait until you know what, I make fun of it, but I am a sucker for Civilization games. Looks like this one will be fun. There's a lot of like I said, it's very the visuals are really, really impressive, and
yeah,
I like playing as Cleopatra and just making a trade empire and dominating,
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times in different incarnations of Civilization, oh, just one more turn, maybe just one more turn,
yeah.
Maybe I'll stop after this, and then 3 hours later.
Absolutely, that game really
maybe I'll get my victory soon, and like, nope, not quite.
No way, that victory is 2 days later. But
yeah,
I will say, speaking of old school icons, here he comes on the B-roll. He walked out during the opening night. Peter Molyneux. Drix, I didn't think I would ever see this guy again. Like,
yeah, from claims to fame such as Fable and Black and White.
My God, some of the best games.
Yeah, no, I'm a pretty big Fable fan, especially in regards to the first one and the lost chapters and stuff. I had an obsession for a minute there.
Fantastic. I really liked Spore. Even though it wasn't all it was supposed to be like cracked up to be, I still ended up having a really great time with it. And I love Black and White. Black and White is amazing. Both Black and White 2, great games. But you know what, Drix? It seems like we're going back to those God game roots, because this new one, Masters of Albion, he's putting it back in your hands, Drix. The world is yours.
Yeah, I was pretty excited to hear him mention, I'm getting my old team back together.
Right?
Like we're calling the boys out of retirement. We're gonna do what we do best, like a heist movie. So seeing like a little bit of the gameplay as he was talking through it, I'm very excited, because you pretty much get the best elements of all of his previous resume, and making a hero, doing the god thing with your hand cursor and just, making magic and elements appear out of nowhere. And like the depth of the city building, he was describing how you determine what your village eats. Like that was something I really got a kick out of, say like in Fable and in Spore, which I also loved. The customizability and like the different paths that will lead you on. But you also get your third person action game you fix out of this too, so this is gonna be a really cool blend.
I really, it's really cool that you could get down and dirty with the combat. You know what I mean? Like, you can get in on it. It's not just point and click my dudes and they do their own thing. And you're like, here's the thing though. Like, you're seeing it on the B-roll right now. It looks quite impressive. You got literally, like you said, you figure out what your town by town basis eats, how they survive. But you know what, Drix? We all know old Peter Molyneux. He is the absolute king of talking these huge promises that don't exactly come to fruition as you might think or he might explain. So, you know, while I do think this is very impressive, and I think that what he's done with this game and this engine that can switch from a third-person action game back to like an RTS style God game in like in a fluid way, in like a seamless way. That's incredible. But I gotta say, I reserve all my judgments until I get this one in my hands, because I love Peter Molyneux. I actually am one of the few people who thinks that he does deliver on some of his bigger promises. But everybody knows that this guy, he has a penchant for over-exaggerating.
Yeah, you know, sounds good in theory, but once the pencil hits the paper and the rubber hits the road, we'll see if it still holds up to the words that were spoken beforehand.
But you know what? I don't see any reason to not look forward to Masters of Albion, Drix. This one's looking pretty awesome. And it's one of the few games, or one of the games in Gamescom that really made me take a step back and be like, damn, there's a lot of good stuff coming down the pipeline. It seems like Sony might have been right to put their faith in the third-party developers, right?
Yeah, this one particularly is it's, you can tell even from the trailer, like it's pushing some boundaries, you know, giving you the action and the God game, both elements kind of working next to each other, and you know, as well as the city building and stuff. It's gonna be pretty cool.
And you know what? We move from that one right into one that is way more familiar at Drix. This one, Akimbo or Akimbot, bro. When I saw this trailer, I was like, "This is just Ratchet and Clank." I was like,
definitely a spiritual successor even.
I was like, man, the guys who made Pumpkin Jack, they're like, fuck it, I want to make Ratchet and Clank. And they did, and it looks awesome.
Yeah, definitely something to look at, a feast for the eyes visually, and you know, cool sort of vehicles, shooting, platforming. It's quite an adventure. So
I do
ready for this one as well.
That's the thing. That I gotta say, Drix, I do love the shooting action platforming. I do love that kind of style of gameplay, like that Ratchet and Clank style. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was a great series. Definitely a good source of inspiration and influence to take into new projects and new ideas and stuff. So yeah, maybe this one will catch on, because I know there's a lot of people out there who remember Ratchet and Clank very fondly and would probably love to see this kind of gameplay come back in a new way.
And I know a lot of people who this was a cult classic, Greedfall, and when you're watching Greedfall 2 footage right now on the from the Gamescom 2024. And you know what, Drix? I don't know about you. I played a little bit of Greedfall, but I didn't go through the whole game. It's one of those games by Spiders, and they make these games that are just almost great.
Yeah, I rather enjoyed Greedfall. I didn't get super into it though. Like, I feel like I made it just barely past the point of introduction. So I didn't quite climb like the skill trees and stuff. But I actually I find the story and the plot and sort of like magical elements pretty memorable, and they really did stick with me. So yeah, maybe I'll have to finish my playthrough of the first Greedfall before this bad boy comes out. Yeah,
you know, I have the first Greedfall on 3 different platforms. I probably should check it out. I got about a third of the way through, and I dabbled in the skill trees a little bit. They're pretty big, but I thought it was. I thought the world, like you said, was pretty cool, and I liked its supernatural elements. And you know what, Greedfall 2, it looks like it leans into that. You're like a druid, and you know you're taking that whole supernatural side of the world, pretty much bull by the horns thing. And you know what, Drix, I will say, the original Greedfall, one of the things that turned me off from it was pretty janky. The graphics didn't look, the visuals didn't look too engaging. But you know what, Drix? Even though this one looks more like on the PS4, Xbox One side of things, of the visuals, it still has that polished look, at least. You know, it might be something reminiscent of that era, but at least it doesn't look like jerky and wonky like the original Greedfall. This one looks like they have their animations down. So I'm really interested to see how Greedfall 2 really ends up not only looking, but how those visuals really draw me into the world.
Yeah. As long as I don't dodge roll right off the map, I'll probably have a good time.
Yeah, you know what? This is Greedfall. You gotta account for that.
You might. Greed fall off the plane of existence.
Just a little bit. And you know, Drix, one of the things that I think is interesting about this one is how they again leaning into the tactical combat element rather than the action style. You know, because the first Greedfall was kind of like a hybrid of the two. This one looks like it leans a lot more into the tactical side.
Oh yeah, definitely seeing some of that in the B-roll here. So a bit more party-based too. I mean,
and you got skill trees
and synergies, skill trees for days. So yeah, might even be a little bit of a gameplay shift in the sequel.
Exactly. So you know the Greedfall 2. Definitely one of those games. If you like the first Greedfall, I'm sure even if like you're me or Drix, who had a passing interest in Greedfall and just kind of was like, you know what, I like this game, but I kind of fell off. This one looks like it might be right up your alley because it looks like it's taking those elements that people liked, sprucing up the visuals and leaning into it. So you might want to check out Greedfall.
Maybe taking the lead from like Baldur's Gate 3 or something too.
Oh yeah, of course. A lot of games are going to be doing that. And that early access is September 24th, as you see on the B-roll up there.
Coming up, we get to try it.
Absolutely. And you know what? We've got another one that is coming up that I want to try, and that is Dune Awakening from Funcom. And you know what, Drix? This is the Dune MMORPG.
Yeah, a lot of ways this can go. So pretty exciting stuff. Glad to see another game come out with this IP.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think an MMORPG in the Dune world is probably one of the better ideas that you can do for the setting because, you know, it takes place in like an alternate timeline, this one, where Paul Atreides was never born. So Arrakis is like in like pretty much all out war.
Yeah, Dune Wars trying to determine in which direction the spice will flow.
And boy oh boy, does this gameplay trailer really try to nail that idea into your head. But you know, this gameplay trailer, you're seeing it right now if you're watching the B-roll. It's a guy. He's meeting another person who rode up to him, gave him a rifle, and now they're gonna go do a quest. And that's pretty, like, the more you watch this B-roll, the more it tries to emphasize team play, and then at the very end, it cashes in on that, like, all right, join a team, join up with a guild, make sure you're in like a guild to do all this stuff, because at the end, like you were saying, Drix, the spice must flow. And the cornerstone of this game is you join one of the houses. In this one, showcase, it's showcasing the what happens if if your player character joins up with House Harkonnen, and you go and you fight in PvP for spice.
Yeah, cannot wait to see how that plays out.
And that idea, right? I love and of course there's base building and all that other things. Another one of the another one of these social interactions that they really showed off in this showcase is like,
How
oh,
does it
look,
build
base building, you know?
Fetch quest to full on raiding with just giant amounts of people.
It's going to be pretty sweet, especially if the end game portion of what Dune Awakening is going to end up being is PvP focused, because that's an interesting angle, but it's one that really leans into the whole Dune, the greater Dune aesthetic, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, the dueling of houses.
And the like we were saying, like how the spice flows, you know what I mean? We're gonna fast forward to that right now, to the ending portion right here, because here it is, PvP battles while you let the spike do its thing, and you know what? You got to get out of there, because you know what happens when you try to mine for spice.
Here come the sandworms.
Here comes the sandworm. And the implication is that you can use it to, like, you can just use the chaos of the sandworm to just kill everybody else in there and get away. So that should be pretty cool.
Yeah, these are going to be some fun and story-based mechanics to play with online in a massive multiplayer setting.
Oh yeah.
Vehicles and everything, just like it's Battlefield 2042 or something.
And you know what? This last game on here is it's called this game just has a very striking visual style. Give me one moment. I forgot the title of this game, but I had to put it on here because it was absolutely striking. It's called The Spirit of the Samurai. And you know what, Drix? Looks like one of those old kabuki puppet shows come to life. And I think this looks pretty amazing, and is a nice little showcase of what's really happening in the indie sphere. Because one of the main things that was showcased in Gamescom this year was how strong the indie offerings look. Because they look pretty strong.
Yeah, definitely. I like how the visuals from this one remind me of like Diablo 2.
Yeah, exactly. And it's got that kind of like, but like Diablo 2's like in the character selection screen vibe, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's sort of, I don't know, art style from days past.
Indeed, that evocative aesthetic. And you know what?
Yeah.
This is just the beginning, right? We had opening ceremony, and this is just the stuff from day one. Gamescom is it's going on for, I believe, the next 2 more days. So you definitely don't want to miss it. And if you really want to see what is coming around the corner, you want to be tuning in to all the action. But one of the things, and we're going to keep this B-roll running because we're going to move on to the next subject, and that is Xbox. Because day one, Drix, there was a lot of Xbox, right?
Yeah, old Phil Spence was front and center and proud to discuss what he's got going on.
Absolutely. You know, their presentation was this morning, and Phil Spencer definitely had some interesting things to say. We're going to zoom in specifically on what his response was to the announcement of the latest game that was to be an Xbox exclusive being ported to the PS5. And that game is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. It was announced for PS5, and after Phil was done praising the developers, Machine Games, and the quote-unquote learning, he says, that came from the releases last spring on the PlayStation 5 and Switch. You know, we had Sea of Thieves come out, and we had, I believe, Rare Replay and Ori and the Blind Forest hit Switch. So, you know, you have some games over there being able... So, Microsoft is definitely diversifying its portfolio like that. And when, like I said, they confronted him on it here, and he said after he was done giving everybody their due praise, he says that, quote, Xbox console players are as high this year as they've ever been, with their quote franchises getting stronger. He continues. He continues, and Drix, I gotta say, I think that's not incorrect. I think Xbox console players are as high this year as they've ever been is correct, because we were just looking at the numbers last week, and if we're comparing it to the most successful generation, the Xbox 360, hey, Xbox Series consoles sales are right there, right?
Yeah, they're getting close. They might not explode like the Red Ring after this, but they're comparable. Especially when you line up the release dates and like the upcoming holiday season. So we'll see what Christmas and the holidays have in store for Xboxes as a whole.
Right, because we also we also mentioned in that same vein, while the Xbox Series consoles and the 360 might be pretty much neck and neck from where they were at their height, the turning point was now, right, Drix? That's what we pretty much deduced. The turning point was now, because at this point in the timeline of the 360, it just kept going up and just went up and up and up and up and didn't stop. Here we go in the Xbox Series consoles, and we don't know what the future might hold, mainly because the numbers themselves, even though there might be neck and neck with the Xbox 360, compared to the PS5, they were completely blown out of the water.
Yeah, just about. See whose hardware is moving and where.
Absolutely. And Phil continues by saying, quote, "We run a business," followed by inside of Microsoft, the bar is high for us in terms of what we have to give back to the company, because we get a level of support from the company that's just amazing. And he finishes by elaborating about the pressures on the gaming industry from the company, and the changes he sees coming down the pipeline from the company's point of view. Quote, "Us as fans, as players of games, we just have to anticipate that there's going to be more change in how some of the traditional ways that games were built and distributed. That's going to change. That's going to change for us all, for all of us. But the end result has to be games that more people can play. If we're not focused on that, I think we're focused on the wrong things." End quote. So Drix, sounds like he's got a lot of expectations over at the old Microsoft house.
Yeah, I mean, all bets on Game Pass still, right? We'll see. So we're trying to change how games are distributed, but if more people can't play better games, then we don't know what's going to happen. We can't just focus on things like, say, the money.
And it's interesting, right? It's interesting that we're hearing that from Phil now, because this is, if you really listen to his language, this is nothing definitive, Drix. He just said we're just gonna anticipate in how traditional ways that games were built and distributed are going to change, and it's going to change for everybody. And he says the result has to be better games that more people can play. Not the result will be better games that more people can play, that it has to be. So, and he following it up with, if we're not focused on that, I think we're focused on the wrong things. Drix, none of that is definitive. And it all sounds a lot like a wish. Then we're going to make something happen.
Yeah, a little bit of the old marketing copy in there.
Just a little bit. And, moving on, now Phil may be boasting in the face of some hard facts, right? We just went over it.
Yeah.
The hardware sales are down 49% last quarter. Xbox, the game services, they were up 30%? They were up a significant amount, but offsetting that 49% dip in hardware is a pretty steep hill to climb. And there's, in the face of all these things, he's still boasting. But Drix, there's something a little quieter that may rub the Xbox faithful the wrong way.
Yeah. Speaking of changes in how we distribute and consume games,
yeah,
it's probably not what he had intended when he was making that previous statement.
Hey, you know what? We'll never know, because here it is from Xbox Wire, news.xbox.com. The headline is, quote, Xbox Insiders, everything you need to know about Xbox Game Pass Standard. And Drix, now, at a glance, this just looks like a feature list of what's in each tier of Xbox Game Pass, but Drix, the devil's in the details, right?
Yeah, the devil is in the Microsoft Xbox Wire.
Yeah, because we learned recently that games such as the much shown off Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Black Ops 6 was a big part of that Gamescom 2024 presentation. And but the players will only be able to access certain tiers of the game, like certain tiers of Game Pass will only be able to access certain parts of the game on day one.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're really trying to incentivize the higher tiers of the Game Pass subscription, which you might want to, just buckle down and get for what it's worth.
Hey, you know what? With the ultimate tier, Game Pass tier getting unfettered access, why wouldn't you want to if you wanted to get the most out of the subscription? But you know what, Drix? Again, we reported that price went up. That price went up to $19.99 a month. So, from $16.99 jumped to $19.99 because of Call of Duty. Oof, pretty gnarly. And this press release clears up when Game Pass standard users will be able to play these day one games on Game Pass, because you got to remember, Game Pass standard users, they do not get day one games, only PC Game Pass, and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate gets all their games day and date, right?
Yeah. How bad do you want those day one releases that have been hyped up?
Quote, some games coming to Game Pass Ultimate, day one games or other game entries will not be immediately available with Game Pass Standard and may be added to the library at a future date. Can be up to 12 months or more and will vary by title. Will continue to share with all Game Pass members when games are being added and available to play for each plan. And just underneath this announcement is also a graphic depicting each tier of Game Pass, including the original Game Pass Core tier that is only available if you are already a Game Pass member at that tier. And it shows another interesting detail in that the access to day one releases is no longer part of that service tier.
Wow. Yeah. So if you already had that subscription, you're actually losing features, huh?
Yeah, you got downgraded, Drix.
Yeah, that's like their basic, I just want to play games online subscription. Maybe it says in the image, the catalog is over 25 high quality games instead of hundreds.
Yes. So,
less than 30, but more than 25.
So, Drix, I don't know, man. So, to me, Game Pass Ultimate doesn't seem like the best value, or the value that it once was, right? Because
if you're gonna get it, have the internet connection to stream the games and dish out the $20 for Ultimate. At least that was my Game Pass free trial too. It's like, oh wow, I can't stream these. I have to pay the full amount for that. Yeah. Go with Ultimate if you're going to, but you can't have all your subscriptions turned on at once,
No, not at all, because again, $20. That's about, that was like Netflix a year and a half ago, right? Like it's pretty
that up.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So Team Xbox. I don't know if anybody listening is in their corner. I definitely am not a super fanboy of any one console. I have a Switch and a PS5, but that's only because I grew up in the 90s. So So I have my Nintendo console and my Sony console. So if you're an Xbox faithful, I'm feeling for you. You're getting features taken away from your Game Pass. The price is getting raised on you. All the while, Xbox is closing down studios, selling off Hi-Fi Rush. Like, I don't know what to say, man.
Yeah, bit of a mixed bag, that whole corporate entity over there, but good luck to them. They sure did enjoy talking about Diablo 4 and Diablo Immortal.
They sure did.
And the expansions.
Hey, those Blizzard games are looking...
World of Warcraft. Yeah. New character in Overwatch 2. Hooray.
Hooray. Those Blizzard games, Drix, they're going to float the boat.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And you know what? You know what floats the boat on this show? The jams like this. Drix, what are we listening to?
This song is from an arcade game called Last Resort. It's Stage 5, a song called Don't Touch Me, Baby.
Ooh, Don't Touch Me, Baby from Last Resort. Arcade classic. Here we are, CFM Radio. We are live. Be right back.
CFM Radio.
against the wind. I will move fast, I will move slow. Take me where I have to go.
CFM Radio.
CFM Radio, we are back.
And we are live. Still alive. Not still alive from Portal. That was still alive from Mirror's Edge.
Very, very awesome, underrated, and overlooked gaming track. You know, Mirror's Edge had a pretty good, Mirror's Edge, people love that game. I'm not too hot on it, but man, it had a great soundtrack.
Yeah, really keep you run Lola running out there.
Indeed. But you know what else will keep you run gamer running? Some new releases, and we don't have a lot, but in the face of Gamescom, we got a couple of new games for you.
Oh yeah.
And
what is up? We'd like to do this every week. Let's go.
oh yeah, and here it is, the first one. You know it, you love it. It's Concord. And you know, Drix, Concord, we talked about this, right? It's not the greatest game, but it's also not the worst.
Yeah, definitely some cool gameplay elements, if maybe a little lacking in the unique kind of style that would set your like 90s protagonists apart from Mario and Sonic, you know.
Right, exactly. A lot of Radical Rex and Bonk vibes here.
Yeah. Designs that kind of, may fade into the background somewhat, but
right.
As far as gameplay goes, still some unique identity here.
Yeah, solid shooting, a little bit of its own identity. Surprisingly hardcore for what it is. And you know what? Yeah. We're just going to here it says the blurb from the PlayStation Store. We're going to jump right in. Quote, assemble your crew of free gunner space outlaws and team up with online with friends for thrilling 5v5 PvP modes across the galaxy in Concord. It is the new team-based first-person shooter for PS5 and PC. Handpick your personal roster of free gunners from the crew of the North Star, a group of outlaws and adventurers working as guns for hire. And you know what, Drix? Like you said, the characters, take them or leave them, right? They kind of just look like a Marvel movie rejects, you know?
Yeah, could not get super attached to them. Had to really learn their abilities and see who you like first.
Yeah, it was definitely gameplay first.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Concord, that releases for PS5 and PC this Friday, August 23rd. Next up.
Yeah. What, one of those $40 live service games?
Yeah, I forgot. It is $40. You're right. $40.
Yeah, kind of like you're not too unlike your Helldivers over there, but may or may not make as big of a splash.
We'll see how big of a splash Concord makes. But you know what? Next up we have Rise Eterna War.
Ooh, yeah. We're going to tell a story. It might get a little bloody.
A little bit. Quote from the Steam page, quote, Rise Eterna War tells the bloody tale of Arthbane, a great general who led the last stand to reclaim his homeland as Ars Rare, from the foreign invaders. Play as Arthbane. 10 years before the events of Rise Eterna, rallying loyalists in a desperate bid to seize the capital, Gaiacus. And Drix, this one looks like an epic tactical RPG with some nice animations.
Yeah, you know, kind of the best of both worlds, not being too graphically intensive, but still giving you a pretty cool little style to look at. You know, not too unlike the a little less flashy than like Unicorn Overlord, but still a lot going for it in the same vein. But definitely something you're gonna want to get your strategy thinking caps on. I mean, the world map we were just looking at in the B-roll reminds me of like Dragon Force or something.
Yeah, definitely reminded me of that. You know me, Drix. I love these kinds of games.
Yeah, we definitely might end up playing this one.
But it's looking like one that I might pick up. Depends on how much it is. Depends on how much time it might end up taking. And you know what? I don't know Rise Eterna, and this sounds like it's like a prequel or some kind of sequel. You know, like maybe I'll check out the whole shebang.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe check out the first installment and see where that story takes you.
Right, and that Rise Eterna hits all major platforms: PS5, PS4, PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series consoles, and Switch tomorrow, Thursday, August 22nd. So if you like what you see, you'll be able to sink your teeth right in. And Drix, finally, we're going to close out the show with, I'm going to just drop it back onto Helldivers 2 right here. Because, Drix, we're going to talk about another new release that just hit the PS5 and PC yesterday. And, you know, I might pick this one up when I can in spite of the divisive reviews, because we're talking Black Myth Wukong, Drix.
Yes, the ancient story of Journey to the West comes to life and is now in your hands with the controller. So get ready to have a good time as Sun Wukong, huh?
Yes, in glorious 4K ray-traced 3D graphics, right?
Yeah, looks beautiful.
It does. Unfortunately, I don't have any B-roll for Wukong up here right now. We have the other Sony hype exclusive, Helldivers 2. And you know what, man? Helldivers 2 is a nice showcase because it also shows off the lighting that Black Myth Wukong takes advantage of. And you know what, Drix? We're talking Black Myth Wukong because, well, the critics may be split, like I just said. We have the numbers. And the headline from MP First is, quote, Black Myth Wukong pre-orders amount to 4.5 million copies, generating over 1.5 billion yuan in sales.
Wow, that's some big numbers coming in for a game that hasn't even released yet.
Well, it did. It released yesterday.
Oh yes.
This is all pre-orders though.
Yeah, so people, you know, once they get that next paycheck or whatever they need, they're going to run out and pick this up for sure.
Oh, yeah. And from the article, quote, according to statistics from the China Game Best Sellers list, Black Myth Wukong has not only secured over 4.5 million sales, but has also generated a staggering 1.5 billion yuan in revenue, approximately 210.4 million United States dollars. The game's
quite the conversion there.
Yeah, and the game's performance on Steam has been particularly impressive, with more than 3 million units pre-ordered, earning it a 95% favorable rating. A significant portion of these sales and reviews, about 90%, come from the Chinese market, highlighting the game's popularity in its home country. And Drake's reading further, quote, Black Myth Wukong also reached the top of Steam's best sellers list and recorded over 2.2 million concurrent players at its peak. This makes it one of the biggest day one successes in recent memory, rivaling other major titles in the industry. Drix, we were just talking about Black Myth Wukong a few weeks back.
Yeah, in the last show. And a little bit about the kind of the game development scene going on in China. I mean, this doesn't look like Genshin Impact.
No.
This doesn't look like Zenless Zone Zero or anything like that.
No.
You know, so maybe, that trickster monkey, Sun Wukong, he might just be a cultural force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. And when we were talking about that too, we were talking about how another Chinese developer who was working with Sony on his game, the exclusive what was that exclusive called? Samurai Blade X? Samurai Ronin X?
Yeah. Zero.
Yes. Samurai Blade Zero, forgot, but they were talking, and he was pretty much saying about how much the Chinese gaming scene is riding on that game, and how the Chinese developers like him were looking forward to the release because its success could mean putting China on the map as a game dev.
Yeah, actually, it seems like a rising tide would lift all the boats, and not just the yachts.
Hey, you know what? And when it comes to game development in China, that's how it seems. Phantom Blade Zero, that's what it is. The developer of Phantom Blade Zero, he was the one who came out and said he can't wait to see Black Myth Wukong and its performance. And you know what, Drix? I think these are numbers to be proud of.
Yeah, actually, big time. I mean, this probably stomps out the release of Pal World, I'm thinking, if it's even on Steam, just the best day one release to date, like this year especially, then yeah, it's already accomplished a lot. And the let's just say the pre-orders season ended yesterday as it was released, so definitely a lot of people here in the States are going to want to pick this one up too.
Absolutely. And it being on the PS5, right?
Yeah,
there's
showcasing ray tracing.
And while Pal World has not slowed down, it recently hit 19 million players across Steam and Xbox. Pal World that game kind of riffed on Pokemon, right? Black Myth Wukong, yeah. It's taking Journey to the West and playing it straight.
Yeah, no, Goku riffed on Wukong.
Right, exactly. So, I gotta say, for something so culturally alien to the major gaming zeitgeist, you probably, like you said, you probably know about Journey to the West through something like Dragon Ball, right? I'm sure most gamers do.
You may have played as Sun in Marvel versus Capcom 2 or something.
Right, exactly.
If you remember that obscure Capcom arcade game.
Right, exactly. So, this Journey to the West story has been a cultural force for much longer than just the impact of Black Myth Wukong. But like I said before, Black Myth Wukong does something new and plays that myth straight. It's straight up Journey to the West. It's not, here's this funny story inspired by Journey to the West. This is Journey to the West.
Yeah. Do yourself a favor, look up some high fantasy martial arts movies coming out of China that are based off of Journey to the West. There's some good
they're awesome. They're pretty good.
Marvel-worthy visual effects roller coaster rides. But yeah, I actually, the more I talk about it, the more I can't wait to get my hands behind the extending pole and other mystical powers of the renowned trickster Sun Wukong.
Absolutely. And you know what? I can't either, Drix. Taking a look at games like Black Myth Wukong, taking a look at games like Helldivers 2, hell, even taking a look at games like Concord. You can't deny that if you don't think that this generation has made its impact, then I don't know where you're looking, because all of these games are just
you're living under a rock, because it's happening.
It's happening.
There's great stuff going on.
There's a lot of great stuff going on, and it doesn't matter how you might feel about these individual games. You know, games like Stellar Blade, games like Black Myth Wukong, games like Helldivers, games like Concord. You say what you want about them, they're pushing the envelope in a lot of ways. And even though the gameplay may not be stellar, or there may be weird online network quirks, or the online play might be buggy in some cases, there's a lot of things that there's a lot more good coming out of this generation than there is bad or mediocre.
Yeah, exactly. And with all the trailers we covered today at Gamescom, we've still got a lot more ahead.
Absolutely. So you know what that means, guys? It means we're out, and it's time, because it's time for us to game.
Yep.
And
Thanks for tuning in.
We hope everyone else is ready to game as well. Make sure you tune in next week for more CFM Radio. We'll have more of the Backlog Beatdown on Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. PST over on twitch.tv/CFM on Twitch. Give us a subscribe. Follow us on Twitch. Check out all of our social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all that good stuff.
Yes, we'll see you on the greater internet. But until then, we might have some games to play.
Have a good night, everyone. We'll see you next week.
See ya.